Now, predictions on this race are a dangerous thing, but surely there'll be no attacks on the yellow jersey today. 191 breakaway-friendly kilometres from Saint-Pourçain to Lyon, which was the first Finnish town of the first Tour in 1903. 7 climbs on the route, so it's up and down all day, but not too far up, nothing over 730 metres. And with the combination of tiredness from yesterday and the thought of Mont Ventoux tomorrow, the favourites and their teams will be happy to wave goodbye to a breakaway today, as long as it's got the right men in it.
Looking at Julien Simon now, he's 6:40 ahead of the peloton. That's no longer the issue. He is about 30 seconds ahead of the group he's been with all day. He's just 9 kilometres from the finish. And let me remind you, the French have not won a stage of the 100th edition of the Tour until now. This is the 14th day. 27 seconds now.
Well, there are 2 Americans in this group, Andrew Talansky, who won a stage of Paris-Nice in the early part of this year, and TJ Van Garderen, who won the Amgen Tour of California. But one man leads from France. Julien Simon is holding on to a 25-second advantage over 15 riders who are now chasing him. And the main field are pretty much out of it at 6 minutes and 39 seconds back.
What a coup this will be, not just for France, but for the young man here, Julien Simon, in his second Tour, because he rides for a wild-card team here, not an automatic entry into the Tour de France.
Well, one man I feel is a big loser if this breakaway survives, and that's the Spanish rider, Jose Joaquim Rojas. He's sitting up always at the front of this group in 3rd or 4th position, hoping that it comes back together, because for me, he's the man with the fastest turn of speed at the finish line.
26 seconds, it's saying on the computers now, so he's slowly being very painfully re-brought into the pack. But can they do it quick enough now? Right on the front there was Garcia of Cofidis. Every time he sees a little bit, senses a little bit of the pace dropping, he jumps out of the saddle. And now through on the inside, an attack by TJ Van Garderen.
Going again, but very quickly followed by the Cofidis rider as they pulling it back together. Well, actually, you might have noticed there, Phil, that one of the riders from BMC, and it was Marcus Burkhardt, he actually let the gap go going around that corner when he saw TJ Van Garderen go into it in first place.
As to it eases mate away. There is the gap. They've got Gautier, they've got Garcia, and leading the pace is TJ Van Garderen.
But bringing them back together is Trontin from Omega Pharma Quickstep, followed by Arthur Vichot, the French national champion. Fast descent now into the heart of Lyon with just 7 kilometres to go to the finish. This man is not hanging around here this afternoon. Might be a good time to remind you, Phil, that Soja-Sun have been to the Tour de France on a number of occasions before and have never yet won a stage.
But we've always talked to them in the past of being in breakaways, but you're right, they haven't won a stage. He's been away now for 7 kilometres. He's got 7 kilometres to go as we sweep over the beautiful river here.
That corresponds to about 8 minutes of effort after a long day in the saddle. TJ Van Garderen is very keen to chase at the front of that group to try and pull it all back together.
Albacini, and that looks like Lars Bak on the left of our picture. He's pushing on now as Bak pushes in an attack. Pavel Brut looking for the opportune win, as he always does, takes Lars Bak, dare I say back wheel, as we're now looking back up the front with Simon.
Well, look how far down he is in the overall standings, 1 hour and 26 minutes, but that doesn't matter.
Can you imagine the pain now this kid's going through?
You know, when you're in a situation like this and you think you might be able to win a stage of the Tour de France, you can push that pain barrier just a little bit further, and he now knows he's got 11 seconds advantage. Talansky there, the young American, 24 years of age, riding alongside TJ Van Garderen, the 2 youngsters, the hope of the future for American cycling.
Still gaining an awful lot of his 13-minute overnight deficit. He's still gaining 6:41 at the moment. He's going to be looking at a big move up the overall classification. If this gap stays in, there's a move again. Van Garderen followed this time by Belal Kadri.
Now, will they chase? He's just getting to the psychological moment now. Rojas is coming across the top. Rojas has seen that as being a very dangerous move by the American, and he wants to be with them.
5 kilometres to go. The sprinters realise that they're not going down for a sprint finish. He's going to have to go with a group and hope it reaches Julien Simon. They're at 3 miles or 5 kilometres from the finish.
Well, they haven't quite made the junction, and once Rojas knew he hadn't got clear from that group, he sat up, and they haven't got across to Van Garderen and Belal Kadri. But still, Simon leads And it's actually up to 18 seconds. He's looking over his shoulder. He shouldn't do that right now. Just look ahead. Concentrate on the job in hand.
And what an incredible feat by the city of Lyon to bring this race across some 6 miles of a city which is so often clogged with traffic, all shut down for the passage of the Tour de France, as Van Garderen still pushes on with Kadri.
Well, Van Garderen in the red jersey, but they're clawing their way to his back wheel there, and now it's all back together once again.
Well, they're counter-attacking, then they attack, then they slow. This man sticks to his guns and tries to keep a steady pace and hope. Little shy look over his shoulder there to see what he's doing. 4.2 kilometers to go. They've slowed again.
Well, you can just see the Soja-Sun rider in the distance. It's around about 2, and TJ Van Garderen is going again, and Talansky is right onto his wheel.
Well, they're on rival teams, so they're not helping each other, that's for sure, as we go back up with the French leader, pulled on by the fact it's the eve of Bastille Day, and no Frenchman has won a stage of the Tour de France this year. Surely you don't need better incentives than that.
The impetus in that group now is starting to slow, and again it's Marcus Burkhardt going over the top. He feels that the time is right for him to have a go. He's a teammate of Van Garderen.
Yes, and this time the French champion has gone with Lars back to try, and they've got him too, and they've slowed down again. This man just gets on with the job.
All of the time he rides at the same tempo. He's probably riding through the streets of the town here at 27, 28 miles an hour as he gets out to the saddle. Every time there's a little rise in the field, he tries to keep the momentum going as hard as possible. 17 seconds. Van Garderen now has been left behind by that group because of the long attacks that he did.
Well, he gave it his all, and now he's been tailed off, and it's left to Lars back to his teammate Marcus Burkhardt there to do anything now for BMC. 3 kilometers to go for the leader. He is just under the banner, and we've got an attack by back again.
Lars back hit them again. They all want to try and scuttle across this gap if they can on their own. They don't want to take anybody else with them. It's a long, hard ride now for Lars back to try and catch this rider, Julien Simon. He won 5 races last year, and they were very good races at that. 2 stages of the Volta Catalunya, and he really is finding his legs burning now, but that sensation is much more acceptable. It's Bakelent's coming across the gap now to Lars back, and on his wheel you've got Gauthier.
Well, we'll see now if they come back together under this pressure here. Lars Bak has become very, very active. He's never won a stage of the Tour. It's his 3rd Tour. As Julien Simon, he's never won a stage either, but it could be a big day today for him. Saturday afternoon in the city of Lyon. This man is going faster than you will ever drive down this road once the roads are open to traffic. And he's free to fly at the moment. He's hanging on.
Well, he's still holding on to about a 200-meter advantage as he comes. He must be egged on by this crowd. The crowd are phenomenal round as he comes up to the 2 kilometer to go board.
There it is, 2 kilometers, just over 1.5 miles to the finishing line. Can he hold on in there? Julien Simon, I think the whole of France will be shouting now at the television set as the counter-attack has started again. This time it's Cyril Gauthier, another Frenchman on the front, but in the distance, who is that?
That is the leader of this race, Julien Simon. Look at his shoulders now, Phil. They are starting to rock. Marcus Burkhardt has hit them very hard. He's the teammate of TJ Van Garderen, the American, who in fact has been left behind by this group. He's down to 7 seconds. This man now is starting to feel the pain. It's accumulated pain. He's got about 100 meters advantage. The big rider from BMC is coming across this gap.
And is he coming across? He's coming across at like a train here. Well, it's not usually the peloton picking up the breakaway. Now it's the breakaway picking up the lone leader right on the 1 kilometer to go banner.
There is Michael Albacini now, makes the junction with the BMC rider. They've got to keep going. They've just about got onto the wheel of the rider from Soja-Sun. Albacini knows that. He knows he's got to keep going at this moment.
Huge last-minute desperate efforts to catch Julien Simon, and Albacini is first across at the 1 kilometer to go. But the rest are clawing their way across. They are totally committed. They cannot wait. Albacini would not like to go now. He's absolutely no choice.
Well, he's got to keep the pressure on because Getschka's coming across from Argos Shimano. He will ride like this up until about 300 or 400 meters to go. Then he'll try and force the Frenchman to come to the front.
Well, as you see when you get the front shot, it would have been a sprinter's delight finishing in Lyon, and now it might well be a sprinter because Rojas is still in that group here. As we've seen now, Geschke on the front here, followed by Albacini, followed by Julian Simon, Marcus Berghout and Bakelants looking over and checking. Bakelants is the danger.
This is a long straight road and he's got them. He's just jumping out of the saddle. Albacini's seen that as a dangerous time to move and he gets right up into second position as the Belgian starts to lead out.
200 metres to the line. Jan Bakelants, who won stage 2 of this race and got yellow, is in the mix again, but Albacini's gone now as they go up to the 150 mark. Albacini goes, chased by Simon Geschke in the white jersey, and Rojas grits his teeth on the right. He's the sprinter. Rojas trying to get through with Matteo Trentin on the line. It is going to be Trentin who takes it, the newcomer, and making up for what Mark Cavendish couldn't do because Trentin is on the same team as Cavendish.
And look how far back he comes from, Phil. He was in about 8th or 9th position. Now, Andrew Talansky saw that too late and jumped onto the wheel of the Italian. At this moment, it looks as if Albacini's got it all sewn up, but the speed of Matteo Trentin as he comes to the line gives him the victory there by a good bicycle wheel length.
Yes, a perfectly timed sprint for Omega Pharma Quick-Step's 4th stage win of the Tour and 3rd in 4 days. Trentin from Albacini, Talansky 3rd, then Rojas, Garcia, Back, Geschke and Vichot. The celebration was more Cipollini than Cavendish, a combination of arm length and being Italian, I think, although Trentin has clearly learned his English on a Belgian team.
So much power, so much tactical cleverness and so much timing. Have you learnt a little bit from Cavendish there?
Yeah. That's every time you say to me, wait! Today I wait. I really wait. If you see, I start 200 meter. 200 meter to go was, I know that my sprint can start from that. If I start before, like in the first stage, I had to do that because in my place it was the only solution possible. Today that I can decide, I wait. And I make it good.
Now, Jens Voigt, who started today's break, and David Miller, who had a go at getting away towards the end, came in together 4.5 minutes down. And 7 minutes 17 after the winner acrossed the line, in came the main field containing the yellow jersey and Mark Cavendish, enabling Cav to take his place in the line of congratulatory hugs that are usually being aimed at him. So, the second successive win from a breakaway for Omega. Astonishing that any of them had the legs for it after yesterday's hard work in the wind. And nice to see that it was one of the workers coming up with it.
Cav, 4 stage wins for the team, and this must be a great satisfaction to see one of your main lead-out men get himself a stage win.
I'm really, really happy. He's done incredible, you know. He's only second-year pro. He's so strong, so proud of him today, you know. Before now saying in the race, just stay patient, and it looks like he did it in perfect sprint, just got Albacini in the last minute. So
happy too will be Chris Froome that, other than work early in the stage, a routine day on paper actually turned out to be routine, and he could save his legs for what will be the opposite of routine tomorrow on Mont Ventoux.
A lot of people have lost time in the race now. A lot of people have reason to attack now. A lot of people have spent a lot of energy in the last couple of days, so it's going to be an interesting one, and it's definitely quite a fight up on the slopes of Ventoux tomorrow.
And you're a rider who rides on instinct, and I know that you have personal ambitions. It would be a great scalp, a great stage to win. Will you be able to resist attacking and riding out a stage win yourself?
I mean, yeah, winning something like on top of Mont Ventoux, that would be, in cycling terms, that's got to be a dream come true. So I'm sure a lot of people will be going for it tomorrow.
So, just to wrap up, let's look at the top of the standings, which are entirely unchanged from this morning's. Froome leads the race from Bauke Mollema by 2 minutes 28, with Alberto Contador at 2 minutes 45, and the gaps remain the same all the way back down the line.